Tuesday, July 27th, another edition of Sideline Sports, joined by John and Jake, myself, JB. Let's start with the Miami Dolphins. John, your Dolphins.
Do you know what happened,
Howard.
So Bryce just said that they requested a trade.
That he did.
Well,
and it was coming.
I will paraphrase what...
He's a fool. I'm just going to say he's a fool.
I'll paraphrase what he said. Basically, he said himself and his agent have been working with the Dolphins. They have brought new contract ideas in terms of a higher form of payment for himself. And they basically rejected everything he said. And my favorite line from what he posted was, "I'm not even the highest paid corner on my own team," which I was curious about. I looked it up, which Byron Jones exactly is number 5 on the list of highest paid cornerbacks, and he's getting $1 million more.
My question is, how can you get jealous over your own teammate making more money than you?
I don't think it was that. I think he was just pointing out that he was just pointing out that when you look at his own team, he's not even the highest paid.
Yeah, but
let alone the highest paid corner in the league.
How can you be jealous of your own teammate?
I don't think it's jealousy, John.
Well, he said, "I'm not even the highest paid corner on my
right."
own.
That's jealous.
No. He was saying, "I'm not paid enough as it is." And then when you around the league, but when you look at my own team, I know I'm one of the best corners in the entire league, if not the best, which I would argue he is. He's not even the highest on his own team, and he's saying, I'm upset that I'm not the highest paid corner in the first place, but I'm not even the highest on my own team." Which reflects poorly on the organization is what he's trying to say.
It doesn't, though, because the team just gave him a brand new deal.
Right.
They just gave him a brand new deal. He's in year 2 of his brand new deal.
Okay, but it seems like he's
about like a 5-year deal.
Outplayed it.
How do you outplay a deal you just got? You asked for a brand new deal and high amount of money.
Right, because his current value, I think, is higher than what they're giving him.
Yeah, but
he's saying, I have played higher than what I'm being paid. My value per game is not being reflected at the current moment of my contract. At the time, I thought it was, but now I don't believe
how I
anymore.
feel. I felt the same way about Deshaun Watson as I feel right now about Xavien Howard, and I'm going to feel the same exact way about any player in the NFL, any sport. If you get a brand new deal that you ask for, the team rewards you, and you asked for that deal, you can't complain. Julio Jones a couple years ago did the same thing with the Falcons. Got a brand new deal. About 2 years into his deal, he complained. That bothers me because if you're
saying that the market doesn't adjust.
No, I get the market adjust, but if you ask for a brand new deal, if you ask for a raise at work, and you say, "Hey, I want a $2 raise," and the boss says, "All right, $2 raise," and then other people start getting raises, are you going to be like, "Well, all right, bump me up $2 because other people got raised"? No,
actually, I would. If my work was
no.
If my work
what you asked for,
if my work is indicative of deserving more money, then yes, I would. I'd be like, "Look, boss, I'm doing more work. I'm doing it better than my coworkers, and I feel I deserve to be paid more now."
So, John, back before you were born, because you're what, 30 years old, John?
31.
You were actually 31. So you were about 2 years old. I worked at a supermarket. So this is way back. I was there 6 months. I got a raise. When I got a raise, somebody else got a raise. They got a bigger raise than I got. And, of course, I was good friends with the person. And I did the same job that they did. So I went to the owner.
Are you secretly Kurt Warner?
I went to the owner, and it got worked out relatively simple. I got the raise I deserved.
Okay.
I had asked for the raise. I got the raise. I agreed to what they gave me originally, but now they want to give somebody else.
People getting raises and you getting paid what you're worth. I understand Xavien Howard should get paid what he's worth, but I'm of the mindset that if you ask for a brand new deal and you get that deal, or you ask for a raise and you get that raise, you shut up and you accept what you've gotten. What you asked is what you got. How can you be upset at the team when they did what you asked?
So I'll tell you. So he got what he deserved at the time.
I do not agree with that.
But his play has improved severely from when he got that contract to now. I think he has improved.
No, I understand. I agree. Go on. I agree.
So the fact that his play has improved as much as it has To me, it means, okay, at point X, which was the original contract extension, the new contract or whatever you want to call it, right? That contract that got him paid what he is now, he was worth X amount of dollars. Now he went from this point to this point. And what I'm trying to show is he's gone up. His slope has gone up. His play has gone up.
I know that.
His performance has gone up, right? And you know that firsthand as a Dolphins fan.
Yes, I do.
He has gotten better, which means to me, if you played better, it means you should be paid for what you're doing. If you're doing a better job, you should be paid accordingly.
I understand that, but for example, okay, say at my job every year it's one raise per year. When your review comes after your 1 year, you get a raise. If I get a raise after my review, and then 2 months later I'm performing great, should I go to my boss and say, "Hey, I want another raise. You just gave me one 2 months ago."
Months, though. It's
no. Hold on.
The equivalent to a year.
But equivalent of a 2 year. He's in year 2 of a basically a 5 year deal, and he wants a brand new deal. So if I'm 2 months into after getting a raise, I got 10 months to go, and then I'm like,
hold on.
I'm like, "Hey, boss, yeah, I need another raise. I just kicked ass for 2 months straight. I went over the top, helping everybody out. I want a brand new raise."
But hold on, I don't think your situation is the same. Because
it doesn't work that way. You
is the equivalent to 2 years of his contract. It's not 2 months. His is 2 years.
And then when your time comes, you'll get it.
Are you advocating for him to be in the homeless shelter because he's not going to get the raise, Sean?
Oh, that poor guy making what, $15 million? Oh, he's going to be in the homeless shelter.
Well, I mean,
you're
saying Albert Pujols belongs to the homeless shelter, so I'm just trying to get the homeless shelter.
Well, Xavien Howard performs as one of the best in the league, if not the best. I also do that.
I also want to ask you this, John. I'm going to give you the list of the corners ahead of Howard, and I'm not asking for money perp. I just want you to answer honestly. Do you think Howard is better or the player I'm naming is better at their position, not in their career? I mean, at this very moment.
I got a good rebuttal to that.
But I just want to hear your opinion.
If we're going to play Judge and play Gordon out of order, I got a rebuttal once you're finished.
I just want to hear your honest opinion. Okay, we'll go with number 5. We're going to go from 5 up to 1, Howard being at number 6 based on pay. Do you think Byron Jones is better or worse than Xavien Howard? I'm not asking about money. I just want their ability to play their position.
A little bit worse. I think Jones doesn't get he's not an interception guy.
But you believe Howard is better. That's the point.
Yeah, of course. I think Howard's the number 1 cornerback, in my opinion.
Darius Slay. So you think Howard is better?
I think Darius Slay's the top 10, not top 5.
Okay.
If you ask me Jair Alexander, that's easily debatable because Jair Alexander I love, and I think he's absolutely right there with Howard.
That's fine. Tre'Davious White. Do you think he's better or worse?
I think he's just as good as Howard. You can make the argument he's just as good.
Marlon Humphrey.
You can make the argument he's just as good.
Jalen Ramsey.
You can make the argument that he's better than Howard or just as good.
Okay.
Any of those guys you just named, the last 3, equal to or better. Yes.
So based on what you're saying, based on the money
you forgot about Bradbury for your very own Giants. Don't forget about Bradbury.
Nope, I'm going with just based on pay.
Money. Okay. I thought you were going by rating.
No. I'm just going based on from number 1, which is Jalen Ramsey, down to number, I believe it was number 5. Yeah, number 5, which is Byron Jones. Okay. Those are the guys paid more than him. That's all I thought we were
just talking who's the best.
Nope.
Okay.
I just want that. And if you gave me Howard versus Bradbury, I'd pick Howard all day. And
I love both, though.
I think they're both great, but I think Howard's better. The point I'm making is if you think he's better than Byron Jones or Darius Slay, at the very least, if you think he's at least tied with Tre'Davious White, he should at the very least be making at least $2 million more per season.
The only argument I have a couple arguments actually to make against that. First of all, he knows the Dolphins are cash strapped, so doing this only forces him out. Hold on. He knows that this forces him out of Miami because there's no way Miami makes up this money. They're cash strapped. They barely signed their rookies, so there's no way he's staying in Miami. They're not going to be able to make money for him. That's not happening. So Howard's gone. I don't know what his trade value is going to be. I have no idea. Should be very, very high. But
it's going to be first rounders, multiple, I'm sure.
But that sets Miami back regardless if you get a lot of picks or not because they're in win now mode. And you got to be able to compete with the Bills and the Chiefs and the Ravens and Teams like that,
Sure.
and this takes you completely out of the running of competing with those teams.
I
Unless
agree.
you get a cornerback back, which I don't see you getting one.
I doubt you're going to do that. I doubt.
Yes,
So
exactly.
let me just rebut your point, John. The problem with that is NFL contracts are guaranteed. If they were to guarantee his contract, maybe
That's also true.
then I would say, okay, I can kind of understand what you're saying. Maybe not complain as much, or you just got a new deal. Like a baseball player with guaranteed contracts, I have a lot more fault when they want to redo their deal. NFL, you break your leg tomorrow, they want to cut you.
I get
That's
that.
true.
The one thing that I wanted to rebuttal on that is Tom Brady. When Tom Brady's always been underpaid. Obviously, He's won 7 Super Bowls. He's always taken less money to help the team. Why do you think he has 7 Super Bowls? It's because his team's been able to build around him because he's willing to take less money.
Yes,
My problem with this is, and I'm never telling a guy to take. I get it. You never want to take less money. You always want to take what you're worth. I understand that in any business. I get that. However, if you really want to win championships, go the Tom Brady route, because Tom Brady's always been willing to take. Now, he still made a lot of money, but he's always been willing to take less money so that way the team can be collectively better, say more of a shot.
Giselle.
But the point is, it doesn't matter how much. I mean,
He's also the NFL's poster boy.
You could also say that about any of these players. If you're making $15 million, what's the difference between 7? No. Listen.
No.
What's the difference? What's the difference between 7 and $15 million per year?
I think at that point, though, honestly,
it's never going to make a difference. You'll never spend that money.
No, but I'll tell you what it is. I think it's a pride thing, saying this is what I'm worth, and I deserve to get what I'm worth, though. And I think that is what a player is entitled to do, though. So
how's a guy who's won 7 Super Bowls able to put his pride aside?
So John, we get a radio contract, right, for $100,000 per year, right? But we find out that the show that we're killing in the ratings is getting $200,000 a year.
Okay.
You don't think we should want to get $250,000? We don't need $200,000 because
I'd be grateful for $100,000.
So you'd be okay with that? You'd be like,
I'd rather get more money if I can.
You'd be like, okay, let them $100,000.
Let them rob us blind.
Dude, I'd be grateful. I'd be honored, grateful, and I'd be humbled that somebody's willing to offer that much.
But the way I see it is this, though. If we can make more money and they don't want to pay up, all right, we'll go somewhere else to someone who will pay us.
But I'm not that type of person where I'm going to be like, oh, well, it's a bidding war. Like if you're like that nice where you're going to offer me $100,000, like I'm honored and appreciative that you're willing that you think that highly of me.
Go back to the statement. He went with his agent and came up with multiple ways for them to restructure the contract.
Maybe he's saying that. Maybe that's just.
So we
don't know if that's true.
I'm sure
we don't know.
They had contract negotiations, and we all know about that for certain.
I mean,
that is a fact.
The Texans are coming out and saying Deshaun Watson's up for trade. We know he's not up for trade.
No,
They're just saying that. No, he's not.
He's up for trade. He's up for
he's not.
Ridiculous numbers that will never get him traded.
Exactly.
But he's up for trade.
He's not up for trade.
No, John, if someone offers a ridiculous trade, it'll happen, but it's just not going to happen.
It's not going to happen. It's smoke and mirrors. It's PC. It's
the reason it's
maintaining their image.
The reason it's not going to happen, though, is not because he's not up for trade, because the trade is so outlandish and ridiculous that no one in their wildest dreams would do that.
It's smoke and mirrors.
He's not up for trade. He is on the trade block. He's just up for way too much. Like
you said, they know nobody's going to actually take that deal, so now they are trying to look better by saying, "Hey, at least we tried." It's all it's up to Watson now.
Made an offer. They put out what they want. That's on the block.
That's
still on the block. It's stupid.
Absurd.
It's stupid. But it's on the block.
John, if you tell me somebody's on the block, even if you ask for something crazy, if I want that person, I'm going to make an offer.
If they were realistic.
Hold on. We didn't say that they're making realistic offers. We said, is he on the block? And the answer is yes. If there is a yes, it's black and white, yes or no. The answer is yes. It's not, is it outlandish or normal? It's just, Is he available for trade or not?
He's not
The answer ultimately is he is. I didn't say he's up for a normal trade that any normal human being would ever make in their right mind. But he is available.
What the Texans, you know what Houston is doing. You know exactly what they're doing.
But to say he's not up for trade is false. To say he's
negotiation,
up
you
for a
reach
normal,
for the highest amount when you
get that
your first thing. And the same way, if I was going to call the Texans for a trade, there was the Giants.
This is a different situation.
Hold on. To say he's not up for trade is false. To say he's not up for a reasonable trade is a fact.
But look, when the Dolphins go to trade Howard, they're going to be realistic. When the Texans go to trade Watson, they're not going to be realistic because they're spiting him. They want.
I also don't see him getting traded because of his lawsuits right now.
Well, I think
it's so hard to know what his actual future is going to be.
I think they want to stick it to him.
You may get one season out of him, and then all this lawsuits, whatever happens, we don't know. We have no idea. Whatever happens, right? And he's out of the NFL for however long, for possibly the rest of his career. Things fall a certain way, then it doesn't matter.
Look, none of this is criminal. He's not on the commissioner's list this year. The deadline already passed. So you have him this year. He's still young. Next year, maybe you get 6 to 8 at most. It's not going to be a year-long suspension. These aren't criminal.
It's not about
these are all going to be settled civil suits.
Maybe.
So
these are all in a lot of trouble, John.
But none of them are criminal. That's the thing. So there's no jail time. So if he's not going to jail and he has no track record in the NFL and he's clean, this is his first shot, guess what? It's going to end up being a 6 to 8 for his first strike in the NFL. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. And if you're a team willing to trade for Deshaun Watson, you eat that 6 to 8 game suspension, and then you have a stud the rest of your career with Deshaun Watson. Wherever you get him, whether it's Green Bay or Denver or whatever.
It depends, though, because going back to if you're built to win now, that's
but you eat. Games, that's but even season. If he's suspended a year, you eat that because Deshaun Watson, when he comes back, is going to be amazing.
With you, but it's going back to your Dolphins argument with the built to win now, sending you back. You're going after a stud quarterback, and now you have a guy you're built to win now. And now you're going to be behind a year because you're.
But when you trade for Deshaun Watson, you know that you're giving a lot up anyways. You know it's going to set you back anyway on draft picks.
So, John, I wouldn't have known any of this because I know nothing about sexual assault in terms of the legal stuff.
It's all a gray area.
But I did look up. You very well can go to jail for that, easily.
With his no track record, with it not being criminal,
it's nothing. I
don't think he goes to jail. They're settling out of. It sounds like they're probably going to settle.
I'm just saying, depending on what happens at the extreme, he is possible to go to jail. It is possible. So that's why I'm saying, for the team, it is a risky play because God knows how this is going to go.
But, like I said,
by the wayside, he could be in jail for a very long time.
I don't.
It may not happen. It's likely to not, but it's to say it's impossible.
It sounds like more harassment than anything.
It doesn't matter.
And for like I said, it all seems like, and the way professional athletes get their treatment with these type of things, it sounds like it's probably going to be a lot of probation, community service. It seems like he'll avoid jail time. That's what I would see.
I don't know.
End up happening.
I don't know enough to make that statement, but he could end up in jail. That's why I'm saying it's one of those things. It's very risky to still trade for him. I wouldn't. Right now,
I don't know.
I wouldn't. If I'm the Giants,
I would. I would. You get a year out of him this year, and then you get what he sits a year. Big deal.
But my thing, no, he can go to jail for up to 20 years, depending on.
He's not going to go to jail. First strike, not going to go to jail.
The legal system doesn't care how many strikes it is.
But they go easier on people whenever they have a clean track record. Whenever you have a good history, like
also
he does in his.
With the amount of cases, it also makes it more likely he could get piled up. So that's why I say if I were the Giants,
also we don't even know how much of this is actually being a goon.
You're right. That's why
he's in conjunction with the McNair. So
I don't know. That's why I say I wouldn't trade for him because it's a risk, and it's for me. I don't think the benefits could outweigh the cost. Because you could give up so many draft picks that you screw yourself for the future.
Or you wait until the Texans start sweating because the Texans are going to want something out of him.
Yeah. Well,
they're going to sweat eventually.
Yeah, absolutely.
You think? I don't know. If they want to get
They
rid
have
of him,
nothing else. They have to get something out of him to start building. They have nothing else in that roster at all.
If
He's the only thing they have.
if he stops playing, they'll sweat.
I mean,
Or
yeah.
if he starts
What do
playing
they
poorly
have?
intentionally.
What do they have? They have nothing. He's the only trade piece they have. They didn't even have a draft pick this year in the first round. We had it. Like, they have nothing. They have Watson, and that's it. You have to get rid of him and get a bunch out of him to start rebuilding.
I agree, but
just me.
Anyway,
yeah. But what?
Speaking of trades and all that, this was not an accident. I wore this jersey on purpose because this was one of the silliest sagas.
I had to mute him. I don't want to hear about this. I don't like anything.
This was so stupid.
But he wore the jersey.
I'm annoyed. That's why I'm wearing it. I'm wearing this not with pride.
I should go get my Rodgers
pure frustration, because what was the point of all this? I want out. I hate the Packers. I'm so mad.
He's still mad.
He reports to camp like nothing ever happened. What is wrong with you?
They made a deal. He's out after this year.
But what was the point of all of this? I don't get it.
Because he still wants to play football.
This was so stupid, though.
It was.
I'm upset.
But he's out
because I love Aaron Rodgers.
Listen,
because I am legitimately frustrated. This was ridiculous.
He didn't get the Jeopardy job, so he needed something to do. The data game wasn't looking for a host. Drew Carey's got the prices right. So we had to go back to Green Bay, and to do that, he had to eat a little crow and go back. So all that basically happened was we talked about him for a long time. I think it ruined his reputation even more than it was ruined before for people that didn't like him. And if you liked him, I don't know how you still like him, because he showed nothing with it.
The last athlete to bring a championship to Wisconsin is not Aaron Rodgers. So.
Oh, we'll talk about that.
Because
I know JD is not happy.
He wants to be the next guy to bring one to Wisconsin, because it wasn't him that brought one to Wisconsin.
I hate people, and I hate this kind of stuff. It was just all of this. Oh, he's going to get traded. Oh, he's going to hold out. Oh, he doesn't want to play there. And then he just says, I'm showing up and I'll leave next year probably. Like, signs a new deal that allows him to leave next year. Like, why?
It was probably a lot of like smoke and mirrors just so we had something to talk about while there's nothing going on in the NFL. It was probably like, hey, here's some storylines, during the dead times, when NFL's not really happening. And now that NFL camps are starting, he's like, oh, I'm back. Now we're not talking.
This just was so dumb.
But it'll be interesting to see where he goes next year. And Devontae Adams and him both sending out cryptic tweets about leaving. Where's Devontae Adams go if he leaves after this year? If he asks for a trade?
I don't know if you guys saw the stupid things they posted on their Instagrams together. It was like a picture of, I think it was Jordan and Pippen from The Last Dance. It was so stupid. Yeah.
But listen, I'm not a fan of Jordan, and we all know I hate Pippen.
You're not a Jordan guy. I thought you were a Jordan guy.
No, I can't stand Jordan. But at least they won championships. What has Aaron Rodgers won?
One
more than Patrick Ewing. Go home, Aaron.
Just trying to.
Just frustrated. I have nothing else. Like, it's not like I don't even know what to say. I was just so annoyed because it was all this build up. All right, things are going to happen, and then nothing. It felt like such a waste of time.
I mean, him leaving, the contract's basically saying he's done after this year. That's interesting.
All right,
because the Packers are screwed when he leaves.
You know what I mean? Like, for this year, like, he made all this talk for this year, like something was going to happen, and then nothing happened. Like, it ultimately became a waste of time this year, and I was just. It was so important that we talked about it every week. Where is Rodgers going? What's going to happen? And then nothing. Just such a letdown.
Welcome to the NFL, where there's always storylines they create in the offseason when nothing's happening.
It's just dumb.
It's the NFL for you.
Just so – I mean, talk about being a diva. That's like
Yeah.
I
know.
Jake he's finally saying something bad about Aaron.
I'm just pissed. Like, if he was going to do all this BS, make something come of it this year. Do it now. Like, if you were so intent on doing all this, do something. Not, next year I can get out. Like,
Jake is taking out his frustration on the Rangers on Aaron Rodgers.
No.
Jake is frustrated with the Rangers, and he's taking out on Rodgers.
No.
He doesn't mean it. So
I mean it. Trust me when I say I mean it.
He's taking it all out, all his Ranger frustration out on Rodgers.
No, there's other things I'm frustrated about in the NHL, but that was not it. There were things that happened this week that pissed me off royally, but they were not it.
No more Buchnet, whatever his name is.
What's up, JB?
What pissed you off royally this week?
All right, we want to talk about the NHL. That's fine. Look, I don't think it's a secret that I liked Vegas, and I've enjoyed watching them immensely. They're a fun team, an expansion team. It was cool to watch them, and I'm excited to have Seattle coming in. They had the expansion draft this week. Another exciting thing. I mean, their team looks like hot garbage, but that's not really the point. I'll talk about that after. Their draft was
Ron Francis did a terrible job.
That was pathetic, and we will talk about that. But Vegas gets another good playoff run. A disappointing finish, I might add, but nonetheless, they continued their excellence in the playoffs, and I'm thoroughly impressed because it's probably one of the best expansion teams we've ever seen.
Yes,
and then what did they do today? They traded Marc-Andre Fleury after he won the Vezina, and to make matters worse, they didn't even tell him personally. Apparently, Fleury found out from the lovely internet on Twitter. That's how he found out. Their Vezina goalie found out from Twitter. Are you kidding me? Frustration doesn't describe it.
I guess so what happens in Vegas. What happens in Vegas doesn't stay in Vegas.
Apparently not. And the move in and of itself is mind-boggling to me. But that's not even what bothers me. What really bothers me is the lack of class. You couldn't tell your goalie, hey, we're going to proceed with this trade. We're trading you to Chicago. And then when you look at their return, it was pathetic. They got one minor league player who I've never heard of. Now, I understand it was a cap dump. I understand that was the point of it. It was to get rid of the cap hit that he was going to have. I understand that. And I even understand the trade because they have a second goalie, Robin Lehner. I've made it clear that I thought they were a great goaltending tandem. No, and I felt that was a strong goaltending tandem. I said that, and I don't love Lehner as much as I love Fleury. I think Fleury's
of course.
Best. But I felt that Lehner could at least be a decent goalie if he was given
he ain't gonna beat Colorado. No.
I was shocked.
But I think he'd be at least decent.
Today.
So I was like, all right, fine. But the fact that they didn't even tell him is just beyond upsetting.
I've wondered this for years. I've followed hockey for a long time, and I still don't understand it. And I haven't understood it ever since I followed hockey. Trades in hockey don't make sense. From Nadalkovich for the Canes.
Oh, we're going to talk about that too.
To
John,
Buchnevich
I
or
want to
whatever
talk
for
about that
you
with
guys.
you.
For Buchnevich or whatever, how do you say his name? For you guys, Fleury for them. Hockey trades make absolutely no sense. It's like, hey, our guy just won MVP of the league. Guess what? I feel like trading for a bag of chips. And you're like third string AHL goalie. That's cool. Like,
it's always that way in hockey.
It's always that way in hockey.
It's so bad. What?
Why did they do that, Jake? I have never understood why that's a thing in hockey. It makes no sense.
Look,
Corey Crawford got he got dumped. Like, I don't understand guys like that. Remember Jean-Sebastian Jaguar for the Ducks when he was amazing and then he just got dumped? It's like, what? Goalies especially, they get dumped for nothing in hockey, and it makes zero sense because that's the most important. That's like the quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah.
And they're hard to find. And you're just like, nah, it's fine. Bye.
Don't even.
What? Please explain that to me, Jake,
I don't know.
I have no idea what these guys are thinking.
I saw that this morning. I was in shock. I was like, really?
It was not even the first bad trade this week, which is what I found so funny. Because John has alluded to it already. John, I'm not even going to start. I'll let you present it and tell us your feelings, because as bad as the Fleury trade was, this is how I felt about both trades. The teams
I feel like
in both situations, Vegas and Carolina were so out of order for what they did to their goalies.
Yeah.
I don't understand. So, John, I'm letting you have the floor with this. I want to just unfiltered thoughts here.
I feel like Steve Yzerman just, was goofing around, just called up,
right?
Don Waddle, and it's like, hey, what do you think about Nedeljkovic? And then Waddle's like, you ever play Madden and
you just send like stupid trades?
You can send a stupid trade to a computer and they accept it. And you get like a 95 overall back, and you're like,
you try to trade for Aaron Donald, and you're like, here, I'll give you Aaron Donald. You have Daniel Jones. How's that sound?
And then they're like, yeah,
cool, sounds good.
And you're like, wait,
you're
what?
Like, that does not make any sense.
Yeah, that's what happened. Anyway, so I was reading last night. I'm not going to say her name, but a writer from The Athletic who covers the Canes, somebody said something about Darcy Kemper and Bernier being the tandem for the Canes potentially. And then she was like, oh, I think I would be okay with that. That all would be forgiven in the goalie situation if that ended up being our goalies. Oh. And so I went and looked at the stats. Nedeljkovic, I believe it was a 192 goals against average for the Canes this year.
That's it. Something like that. That I know it was under 2. I know for a fact.
1.5 million, I believe, was how much he was making. He wanted to go up to about 3.1.
That's not
a big 1.6 increase. That's not a big deal for a guy who had the best stats in the NHL.
It's
23 games.
He was very much deserving of it, I believe. 23
games. All right. Even if you don't feel like paying that extra money, even if you don't believe in him, here's my thing. If you go and get Darcy Kemper and you have Bernier, those two guys are going to cost more than that $3.1 million that you would have paid if you would have paid arbitration on Nedeljkovic.
Sure.
Paid the 3.1 because he would have got $1.6 million increase, which he deserved. However, if you don't believe that, you're going to end up paying more than that 3.1, which is what Nedeljkovic would have made. You're going to end up paying more than that on those two goalies. Would you rather pay Jonathan Bernier, or however the hell you say his name? Maybe I butchered his name. I don't know. And Darcy Kemper. Would you rather pay them or Nedeljkovic, who competed with the Tampa Bay Lightning? Because here's what I say. Whenever this specific writer on Twitter last night said, oh, yeah, I'd be okay with that for the Canes, she covers them, I responded. She didn't respond to me. I said, let's play a little fun game. Imagine what those two goalies are going to do when you get to the playoffs. You play Tampa Bay. Please, you close your eyes and you imagine what Tampa Bay is going to do to those two guys in the playoffs, because it's not going to be pretty.
It's not going to be pretty.
It wasn't easy for Nedeljkovic. He held him to 2 goals per game.
Oh.
Was not easy, but he held him to 2 goals per game. Those two guys will not hold Tampa Bay to 2 goals per game. I promise you that. Not. Absolutely not. Darcy Kemper's stats this year, 2.56, I believe, goals against per average. That's over half a goal more per game than Nedeljkovic was allowing. 2.56 is not good. And his career average is not any better than that. So if that's the guy that reports are saying that the Hurricanes are going after, you could just kiss your championship hopes goodbye. Because if you don't have goaltending in the NHL, you do not win. It does not happen. Absolutely. If that's what you're going with,
this may be the first time I'm actually going to agree with John's full point.
I know.
I think I'm out of order.
Feels like it, right?
Hey, look, I know my stuff. That's why I write for Cardiac Cocaine. I know what I'm talking about. I know my stuff. Other people who write for the Athletic seem to know their stuff too, but I know my stuff better. Just saying.
And the return for this trade.
I think I've heard it all.
The return for
I
this
love
trade
the Canes more than just about anybody in the world, man. I know my Canes. I love the Canes. And whenever I see something where you have a chance to beat the 2-time champion Tampa Bay Lightning, you're not guaranteed, but this guy gives you a fighting chance, and then you get rid of that for nothing. You can't justify it because you got nothing in return.
They got a 3rd-round pick. That was it.
A 3rd-round pick and a 31-year-old goalie?
I don't even care about that.
Big deal. Big deal. Whoop-de-doo.
Are you trying to say you don't trust the front office? They got your
not at all.
Where it is? Okay, I just wanted that on the record.
I agree. I'd like to have that on the record because if things change.
got to the 27th pick in the draft, and they traded out of the first to get, I believe, it was the 51st and another pick.
I have to ask, what?
I have no idea what they're doing.
What
Hello,
are they
John.
doing? I mean,
hockey makes no sense. Front offices in hockey make zero sense. I don't get it.
I think it was pretty clear with how I talked about the Canes. I have said this many times to you guys. I felt this was a team that had a legitimate shot at a cup within the next few years.
Yeah,
I said
it's not,
2 to 3 years.
Yeah.
Nope, 2 to 3 years, they would at the very least probably make a final because they're that good. They're a great young team. And I told you, the only thing they had been lacking was experience. And that's okay. That happens. That's how hockey works. It's what I said about my Rangers.
But that's
what I said about the Rangers a couple.
Why did the Rangers get to a Stanley Cup a couple years back? Why? Because they had
goaltending and experience.
A goalie. They had a goalie. That's what drives you in hockey.
It was the two things.
And Henrik Lundqvist.
And they had experience with him. They had been in the playoffs. They got the experience, and they eventually got to a cup final, which is what happens.
I'm not saying Nedeljkovic is Henrik Lundqvist. I'm not going to disrespect Lundqvist like that. But Lundqvist was amazing, and that's why the Rangers had a shot every year, and that's why they eventually got the ones because of Lundqvist. Can't get rid of your quarterback, basically. You can't do
it. You can bench him, though.
Don't start with me. I'm already upset. Don't start with me.
John,
you're having to deal with Howard and Nedeljkovic. Don't start.
I look at this, and I go from saying Canes in the next 2-3 years, at the very least, will be in a cup final contending for a cup. I don't even worry about them anymore.
No,
I think they'll be a playoff team, but that's it. They took a step backward.
Big deal. 8 teams make it in each conference. Big deal.
That's a big step back because I know I was hard on Ned, and I said, he wasn't deserving of the Vezina, and that's fine. And I stand by what I said for the reasons that I claimed, meaning that he didn't have the right experience. And
but you can't get more out of him?
But hold on. But I don't take that statement back. However, you have a goalie that was one of, statistically speaking, the best in the league, no question. He had I think it was a 15-5-3 record with 3 shutouts, a fantastic save percentage, incredible goals against average, and he played 23 games.
Both number one in the league.
It wasn't
number one in the league in those stats.
The
full sample size of the other Vezina Trophy finalists, which is fine, but it also wasn't like 5 games. It was
apparently
20, it was over 20 games. It was enough of a sample size that I felt I could say this guy, if he continues on this trend like he seems to be doing, he has a bright future in the NHL.
Apparently,
and the Canes were fleeced. There's no other way to say it.
The Hurricanes did not like what they saw out of Nedeljkovic. They did not believe in his talents completely, and they thought it was a little bit of a fluke what he did this year, and so they wanted to get something out of him before he became a free agent next year.
I have to say something that I'm sorry to say.
I'm not telling you what I believe.
No. Of
course.
I'm just going to say this because I know it's going to hurt you, but I hope that he becomes one of the premier goalies in the league and sticks it to the Canes. And it's not a personal thing against you. This is not like me trying to screw with John here. That was one of the silliest things they could have said. Give him the money. Give him just give it a try. Let him experiment.
Since the Hurricanes came into expansion from being the Hartford Whalers, one of their announcers,
I have to say, I miss Hartford. I miss them dearly.
One of their announcers, I believe it was 2 years ago, last year or the year before, his contract was coming at the end, and he'd been in with the team since they started, since they came to expansion, and their owner, Tom Condon, did not want to pay him. He did not want to pay him. The guy had been there since they came into the league. He was absolutely beloved by the fans, all of us. And Tom Condon, the owner, did not want to pay him. Tom Condon does not. He is much like the Orioles owner. He does not like. He is very frugal. That's all. Be nice. He is very frugal. So he did that with the announcer. See, it's a trend with this guy where he just is very penny pinching.
I hate owners like that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And then
you want to win. You want your fans to stick around. Now, whether it be the beloved broadcaster who's been there with you through everything, or your goaltender you got lucky with, who actually this past season, the Hurricanes put him on waivers at the beginning of the season, and he passed through waivers on all the teams. And then they got lucky, and the guy ended up being one of the best in hockey. Like,
I agree.
You got very lucky twice with this guy, and then you just traded away.
And then you just traded him for pennies on the dollar for a bag of chips, basically.
This goes beyond just a dumb hockey trade. This is just fleece.
Fleeced is exactly the word I use, John. Fleeced is the exact word. I don't know if you heard me before. I said the Canes got fleeced. This is pathetic. Does not even begin to describe how I felt about this. I mean, this was terrible. I don't know that you could have gone.
This is like John Elway. This is like John Mizek's John Elway trying to draft a quarterback. Just fleeced every time.
It was bad. He's
right. Like what O'Brien got from the Hawkins trade.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
So John makes this comment, and I will say this. Most of the draft sucked. I think probably 85 to 90% of the players the Kraken picked were just bad. I'm sorry. Like, there were minimal highlights, and I will happily go over them, but I think it's fair to say, and
if it sucked, you do not have. Like you.
It was bad. I mean, they made a handful of good selections, but they were overall not that great. The few selections that I liked, they selected Florida Panthers goalie Chris Dreiger. I believe that's how you pronounce his last name. He's played in 23 games, a 207 goals against average, and a 927 save percentage. It reminds me of somebody we just talked about, I think, just a little bit, right? And you know what? This is what happens. A good goalie gets picked. It happens.
The weird thing is the Hurricanes protected Nedeljkovic in that Kraken, in like the draft. They protected him from the Kraken taking him.
I think the only reason they did was because even if they were going to trade him, they wanted to get some value for him, as opposed to absolutely
nothing. Knew all along they were going to trade him.
Even if they did, they just wanted to get something. I get it. So anyway, they also selected Yanni Gourde from the Tampa Bay Lightning. I think it's great veteran leadership.
Yep.
Solid center. I love that pick. Probably my favorite pick that they made. New York Islanders right winger Jordan Eberle. I think he is.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Another great veteran leader. It'll be helpful. It's one of those picks that was obvious, but it's good. I like the other goalie they selected, the other big name goalie, I guess, from Washington. They selected Vitek Vanacek, who was one of Washington's goalies, played in 37 games, and a 269 goals against average, and a 908 save percentage, and that's pretty good. That's another solid goalie. I like the pick. It's smart. Other than that, there wasn't a whole lot that stands out to me. They selected there's two others. Mike Giordano, which he's not good anymore, from the Calgary Flames, longtime captain. Honestly, he's not good at all. He's old. But he is a veteran leader. I get it. It's fine. And I like the Adam Larson pick from Edmonton. Solid defenseman, another veteran leader. But other than that, they stunk up this draft. I mean, I know it feels harsh because we're comparing them to Vegas. Like, oh, Vegas was so good in their draft, but they were just, I don't know. I felt underwhelmed, and maybe they'll be good. They'll pull a Vegas and surprise everybody, but I'm just disappointed personally. I don't know. I wasn't like impressed.
So, whenever we're done hockey, I have some baseball stuff I really want to talk about because it's great. It's great.
I have one more thing, and then we can do that. I knew there was one thing. I almost forgot about it. Alex Ovechkin signed a new contract today. I actually, funny enough, I actually thought he might get picked for Seattle if they were going in the direction.
That would have been smart. Leadership. Yeah,
I thought they should have. Personally, at 35 years old, I mean, he wouldn't have been the oldest player on the
leadership.
Team.
Yeah.
I thought they should have done that, but that's just me. But Ovi signs again with the Caps for 5 years, which further proved my point that they easily could have, just taken him. Like, no problem. I mean, it's if they could have gotten 5 years out of him with the experience he would have brought, it would have been great. But he signed a 5-year, $47.5 million contract. So good for Ovi. He'll be 40 when the contract expires. Most likely, I would guess that will be when he retires. But we said that kind of stuff about Tom Brady, and he's still playing somehow. We've been saying about that for at least 3 or 4 years, and he's still here. And if Ovechkin continues to play like he is, he could do the same exact thing.
And John asked 35 in hockey has to be older than NFL quarterbacks. Actually, I mean, it seemed you would think because of the wear and tear on their legs, but these guys are animals. They're warriors, and they are absolute. I don't understand how they play into their 40s. Like Jaromir Jagr played so late, and he's still playing. I believe in another league.
He's playing in Russia, I believe.
I believe in Russia.
I believe he's still playing. I'm not 100% sure, but I believe he still is.
I have no idea how they get beaten down so bad. The wear and tear that if you've ever been on skates is just grueling for 5 minutes, let alone how long they play their careers. And they still play into their 40s, some of these like great players, and more proud of them. So I could see Ovechkin playing out the length of his contract and then being done.
This is probably the best comment I've seen in a while. The vodka helps numb the pain. I love that. But no, seriously, the way Ovechkin's playing at his age, I would not be surprised if he continues to play at a high level for the next 4 to 5 years of his contract, like the majority of this contract. And that's why I said it was funny. We were talking in our group chat, and Matt, who's one of the guys in our group, says, they're not protecting him because they're going to re-sign him, and he was on the list of players that could have been selected. It was the lists were weird. It was based on you had to play a certain amount of games, not be a certain type of free agent. I think it was a restricted free agent, couldn't be on the list.
Yeah, there's always sorts of different rules.
But he was one of those players that could have been selected. He was totally available, and they didn't. And then you see this contract, and my immediate thought is, why didn't they go after him? Like, they could have gotten him for a couple of years. And if you're going to go after Mark Giordano, who is older, playing worse, and just physically not on the same level anymore, why wouldn't you go for a guy like Ovechkin? Like, I thought it would have made sense.
It would be so weird to ever see a guy like Ovechkin in another jersey. I just can't see it.
I know.
Exactly.
Well, how do you think I feel when
I
see I saw Henrik Lundqvist in a Caps jersey?
It was so wrong.
I know he never played. I understand he hasn't actually physically played for them, but just seeing it crushed my soul.
It was like
for lack of a better description.
It was like Peyton Manning going to the Broncos was weird. It's like Pecorini. I'm glad Pecorini didn't go to another team.
I'm glad he retired.
Yeah,
honestly, as a Giants fan, it would have been weird seeing Eli play in another jersey.
Yep,
like, I know he may not have been one of the greatest quarterbacks like his brother, but Giants-wise, he was going to be one of the greatest, if not the greatest Giants quarterback ever, alongside Phil Simms probably.
Yep.
And more importantly, it would have just been wrong to see him in another jersey. It's one of those things that he's a Giant through and through, and it's the same thing. And I agree, Ovi in another jersey would have felt weird.
Wouldn't seem right.
It wouldn't. You're right, but it would have been. It would have been. It was
like when there was trade talks about Kobe potentially getting traded at the end of his career. Like that would have been so wrong if
what it's also this is forgotten, but Martin Brodeur. I don't know if you guys remember. He did play for the St. Louis Blues briefly.
Did he? Right? Oh yeah,
very
actually,
briefly.
I remember now.
It was a handful of games. He made like a comeback, and it was one of the weirdest things I've probably seen in terms of sports, like players on another team. It'll never feel right, but it was one of those things that happened, and he played in 7 games, and he only started 5 for St. Louis, and that was it. That was all he did, and it was not good. It wasn't like he wasn't himself, but just seeing him in another jersey, it was one of those things. It's the same thing. I
remember Jerry Rice when Jerry Rice left the Niners and went to the Seahawks and the Raiders.
Seahawks and the Raiders, yeah, either one.
So weird.
Randy Moss.
Emmitt Smith went to the Cardinals, and that was weird. And he said he felt like a diamond surrounded by trash.
Honestly, I think of technically the opposite direction in their career. But Marshawn Lynch went from the Bills to the Seahawks.
Yes.
But when I think of Marshawn Lynch, I will always think Seahawks. And even though they were a second team, I look back at his early career and I think, why is he wearing a Bills jersey? Like, my brain doesn't want to say
he was a
right.
disaster. Yeah, he was a disaster.
But like, he'll always be known as Beast Mode and you know, the Beast Quake, and that was all Seattle. And that was all him.
That's one of my favorite playoff memories ever, by the way.
True. Right, I forgot I forgot he was on the Raiders.
I didn't like that.
To prove my point, it's weird. I try to
felt weird,
It's not right. So, all right, John, what do you got for baseball? I have a feeling I know where this is going.
So, I really wanted to talk about the Cleveland
Guardians.
Yes, the Guardians.
Not where I thought this was going, but that's okay.
Not sure if you guys heard. I thought this was fantastic. But the Cleveland, they're currently the Indians going to be the Guardians. Guardians aren't official yet. However, they did not do their research. There is a roller derby team in Cleveland that has the name Guardians already trademarked. The Indians did not do their research, and this is already trademarked by a team in Cleveland in a roller derby arena, I guess, in Cleveland. So they have to find a way now.
John Bisick is out of order.
I love it.
Get out of here, John.
And I want to show the logos too. I have them pulled up on another screen. They're just
it's atrocious.
I don't like them. They're ugly.
Oh, it's awful.
Like it's
so
it's
did you
not
see the
good
meme?
Looking. I'm sorry.
Did you see the meme where somebody said that it's the symbol from Major League and the Goodyear foot mixed together? They had a beat.
Yes. I didn't see that, but it looks like it.
This has got to be the worst name I've ever heard of a team.
No, no.
Well, the name isn't terrible because there is a meaning behind it. There's a meaning behind it.
I heard about this. But hold on. I'll say this. There's a worse name. The Washington football team. A team that doesn't even have a name.
Or the Browns, the Cleveland Browns, or the Cincinnati Reds are pretty bad
those are just colors, but at least those are their names. The Washington football team doesn't even have a name still.
Nor will they have one this whole season. Good job, Washington.
Pathetic.
You want Cleveland just out of the blue on a Tuesday says let's create a new name. Actually, what was it? Friday that they did.
So the Guardians, from what I heard, is based on there's like
statues. I think
statues. Yeah. There's like over an overpass in Cleveland. Yeah. They're Guardians, and that's why they named them Guardians.
I know there's meaning, but it's still stupid. I'm sorry.
But it's still stupid, and the fact that they did not do their research and this Derby team in Cleveland already has the name trademarked is abysmal by this franchise, whether you call them the Indians or the Guardians now, whatever you want to call them. That's atrocious that you did not do your research. Now they're going to have to throw a lot of money at this roller derby team in order to get them to allow them to use it.
We know who's winning the roller derby championship now with all that extra influx of cash.
Yes, exactly.
But that is just
how do you make that mistake?
I don't. Whoever made that mistake, I think needs to be fired immediately. And you know what I have to say? Honestly, I'll say this: that person that made that mistake, they're out of order because they didn't do any research. I guarantee you, if any of us did that, we could have found it.
I'm going to take you one further. I'm going to hold you in contempt for that. I'm going to hold you
in. Or them.
Them. Put you in contempt.
Wow, they're the first one in contempt.
You're in contempt, person who made that name.
That's pretty bad. All right. So now that we've talked about that, I don't want to talk about this because I'm hurting still, but it needs to be discussed because this was – we have talked about the Yankees and the worst loss multiple times, but I think this may be one of the worst losses in history, not just this season, in history. The Yankees go into the 8th inning with a no-hitter. No-hitter. That is important to understand. They give up one hit, and the only reason Herman came back in was because he had a no-hitter. And I'm not upset about that. I actually appreciate that Boone did that. Why? Because that's how baseball generally works. If your pitcher's got a no-hitter, most of the time, if he's pitching well, you just put him back in there. Like that's standard. And if he gives up a hit, that's the only reason you take him out. And I'm perfectly okay with that. Why? Because he was doing his job. And I'm perfectly okay with that. He was playing well. Fine. I'm not upset about that. I think
you understand the risks.
The move was what I would have done as well. I think any reasonable person would have done that. Yeah. So that's not my problem. My problem is the fact that we go from a no-hitter to giving up 5 runs in the inning. 5. We didn't just give up the no-hitter. We gave up 5 runs in the inning alone. How does that happen?
Because these are not the regular Yankees. Boone has got to go. It's time to do what George would do. The ghost of George needs to come out through his son a little bit here. I mean, I don't want to go back to where we fire a guy twice a week.
But this is
bad.
This is really bad.
This is not with all that payroll, the $40 million waste, it's disgusting.
George would have had Boone's head on a platter a long time ago.
After the first
he
or
probably would have been
loss
out of the
like
league. That's how bad he would have destroyed him. He probably would have been, probably never would have came back as a manager.
This is one of the most pathetic things I've ever seen, though. I mean, I'm okay with giving up the no-hitter. Like, I'm in no way upset about that.
That's fine. That happens
consistently, so that's okay. I would have been even okay giving up 1 run. Like, I can handle that. But going from a 4-0 lead to a 5-4 loss is unacceptable. I don't understand how you do that. That is mind-boggling.
It's disgusting. Disgusting. It's not baseball that I'm used to. And
I love it. You love to see it.
I hate this.
As soon as Moon gets fired, I will be a happy person.
I'm going to rejoice. I think we have to throw a party.
And I hate seeing guys get fired, but
I agree.
I'll start the party. I'll throw some steaks on the grill while you celebrate the Yankees losing. I'll throw some well done steaks on the grill. We'll play some cornhole.
Last time I looked, only about 3.5 out of the playoffs of the wild card. That one game retarded thing that we do because we play 160. Let's play one to see who can continue.
That's pretty bad. What's funny is to me though, honestly, we talked about Boone should be fired about 20 days ago. So about 3 episodes ago, maybe 4 episodes ago. And we're still saying the same things, yet he's still not fired. He's still here, and I can't begin to understand why.
Because they're in playoff contention, I assume?
I guess. They are. I know they are, technically speaking. I think they're like 3 games out, maybe, of a wild card
spot. It's like saying the Texans.
Which is like not bad.
The Texans are willing to trade Deshaun Watson. Technically,
We'll see what happens at the end of this week when the trade deadline approaches, because there's links to them for Story.
There's links to them for a lot of people, but I don't know what's going to actually happen.
If they're buying, they're not going to fire them. What's going to happen is they'll buy, and if they have a bad first week of August, it's going to be bye-bye. Bye-bye, Booty.
I'm ready. Look, I loved him the first few years, and he was a great manager. I enjoyed having him. He was, a fiery manager. He got in the ump's face. He was intense, and I loved that about him. And I still do. I respect the fact. No, I respect the fact that he does that sort of stuff. He sticks up for his players, and he got us to the playoffs, and we did fine.
Not every former player needs to be a manager.
But
just saying.
But he's showing his true colors now. This is who he is as a manager, and this is where good managers, or rather average managers, and great managers are separated. A good manager will pull the team to start playing better. An average manager will do exactly what Boone is doing, and a great manager will pull them into the playoffs and keep
He'll
them
just
as
keep doing the same. Keep doing the same thing, banging his head against the wall, hoping something changes.
A great manager will continue to make his team better, make the right moves, make them a legitimate contender again, and fix the issues. He's an average manager at best right now, and he's proving it.
Yeah.
Why? Because with the talent he has, he should have no problem fixing everything. Like, I understand they're not playing well, but this is ridiculous.
Basically, Aaron Boone is Jim Carrey in Liar Liar when Jim Carrey's in the bathroom.
Yes.
When beating his head
himself
against the wall, somebody comes in, he's like, I'm kicking my own ass. Do you mind? That's Aaron Boone. Just keeps beating his head against the wall, and hoping something changes, but nothing ever changes. That's Aaron Boone.
I agree.
Bring back Buck.
No, please don't.
I like Buck.
I'm not upset. I think they should keep him forever. I'm enjoying his tenure.
Please, no.
So I think he's doing the best job in the history of managers, and he should get a lifelong contract.
Who do you want to manage the team?
Aaron Boone.
I don't know.
You're out of order.
I don't know yet. I can't say I have someone in mind. I mean, it's not that I'm against Buck. Don't get me wrong. It's just I think I want someone a little bit more new school, and that's my only concern with him. Like, he's a little bit of an old school guy as a manager.
Yeah, but he's going to keep these guys.
And he's great.
In line.
Don't get me wrong. But I think I want someone a little bit more in tune with the game today. That's all.
But he's going to keep the thing.
Also, JB, bless you, by the way. I'm not ignoring you. I'm not ignoring you. I just wanted to make my point.
Yeah,
that's my only.
He's the most out of his guys, though, and he holds them accountable.
No, if they hired Buck, I wouldn't be upset. Like,
yeah,
do not get me wrong. I would be perfectly fine with it. I'm just saying, if I had the choice of anybody, I'd want someone a little bit more new school. That's it.
It sounds like Boone isn't holding his guys accountable. It just seems like he's not. Like, Buck will do that. He'll get the most out of his guys, regardless.
No, you're absolutely right.
Lack of talent or a lot of talent, he'll get the most out of his guys.
Yes.
Boone's not doing that.
The only thing with Buck,
Boone's having his team have their own players-only meetings. Are you kidding me?
And Buck is loyal to his guys.
That's true.
What happens with Buck is his time runs out after a few years. Buck's not a long-term guy. He's not going to be around 10 years. You get him for 2-3 years to get everybody in shape.
He'll get the best.
And then you get rid of him.
Yep.
Exactly, and that's why
I can attest to that.
That's what I'm worried about. That's why I say that. I want someone that's a little more new school, can keep up with the game, will obviously get the most out of the players. I think that's something that I want in every manager, no matter what, and that goes without saying always.
Not every manager is capable. That's why manager is capable of that.
I think that's the most always like the ideal thing for a manager, no matter what, is a guy that will get the most out of his players. Like, I don't think that's like that always has to be said. That's a pretty standard thing you want in a manager. Doesn't mean you'll get it, but it's what you want. So, but look, like I said, if they brought back Buck, I would not be upset. I think he would do well for this team.
I mean, who would be a better option now if they fired Boone in the middle of the season?
That's the problem. That's
Willie Randolph's available. Willie's an ex-Yankee. Willie Randolph. He was the manager over at Flushing. He's an ex-Yankee. Well-liked.
There you go.
But is he in the market for a job?
Probably not.
Everybody's in the market to manage the Yankees. No one's turning it down.
No, but I mean, would you be ready? You have to be ready.
Let's get James Dolan. Even though he's a manager, an owner, let's make him a manager. Let's do it. Because he's doing a real good job with his two teams.
Please. Yes, please. That would be even better than Boone. I would be all for that. I will throw the steaks on again. I'll throw a second set of steaks on the grill. Just for Debbie. I know Debbie likes how I make my steaks. She's a big fan. So I'll make well done specifically for her. A couple. If she wants 2 or 3, I'll throw them on.
Anything else in baseball?
Show the clip I was telling you about.
Oh, the Javi Baez walk-off from what?
Last night? Yeah.
All right, give me one sec. Let's see. I have it.
I want to hear everyone's opinion on this.
On the celebration or
the whole thing?
The whole thing. Okay.
The whole thing. Watch the whole thing.
I like it personally. I'm all for it.
See, when I saw that originally, when I saw the first replay, I thought he threw the bat towards Garrett, and I thought was bad.
No,
but then
I don't think
they showed the replay later. He didn't throw the bat anywhere near him, so I was fine with the whole thing. And obviously we're in the Olympics right now, we have a rowing team. If Javi Baez, if the Cubs are looking to make a trade, you know.
He looks like it'd be pretty good for them.
But I thought that was fun. I mean, you know,
I like
that
that.
was probably one of the,
I like that in baseball. Personally.
I agree. Personally,
enjoy emotion in baseball.
Look, there's a lot of things I like about old school baseball. I know we've discussed this. I miss the art of the bunt, and I know we've discussed that. I miss that. I think that's an incredible part of the game that we lack now because it's all about the home run. I miss that. I'm not a huge fan of the shift because I miss watching
Get rid of
players
that
be
garbage.
legitimately athletic to make plays. Like that's what I grew up with. A guy like Derek Jeter, for example, is one of my favorite players of all time. He was purely athletic when he played. He was all out in his playing, right? And that's what I loved about baseball, but that's what I loved growing up is go all out with it. So there's a lot of things I like old school that we don't do now, and those are just some examples. But with that said, this is one of those things I love about the new age baseball, and I can't get enough. I love players being themselves, showing their personality, not afraid to be themselves. Like I love it. It's what he should be able to do, and I like that he does it. I have nothing else to say.
Matt, you're out of order. I'm just gonna say Matt's out of order. Get him out of here. Throw him in the penalty box for 2 minutes. Penalty box, 2
but now we're doing
minutes.
penalty boxes.
Yes, he's going to the penalty box with the guy in that green man suit hanging on the side of the glass while Matt sits in the penalty box. Remember that from the Vancouver Canucks game?
Matt, why am I out of order? Care to explain what I've done?
Get him out of here. Throw him out.
I'd love to know what I did. I don't think I did anything wrong.
If I was Angel Hernandez or any of those MLB umpires, I would eject Matt from the game right now. Get him out of here. You need to get rid of that shift and bring baseball back to what it is. If you hit the ball up the middle, you deserve a base hit. There should not be a guy playing softball on an MLB field. No thanks.
I was looking up the strikeout numbers. I think it goes back to 1992 from MLB Reference. The highest strikeout team, I think, had 1,269, which was, I think, the Cubs that year.
Okay.
Right? So I won't count last year or this year because we haven't played a full season. You go back the year before, only 3 teams had under were less than that.
Right.
You less than the worst team. It's horrible. And then you have, all these teams with all these strikeouts. And it's disgusting. Guys can't hit. Guys can't hit the other way. Guys can't bunt. They don't steal bases. It's just bad baseball.
I agree. I mean, it's the problem that they're going for the long ball. That's all it is.
There was 9 teams with over 1,500 strikeouts 2 years ago.
That's a lot.
That was more than the top team in 1992.
So let's say 1,500 divided by 162 games. That's a ridiculous average when you think about that.
I'm just enjoying Matt and John Mizek's comments back and forth while you guys talk. Just watching their comments back and forth, while you guys talk. I'm just enjoying their little conversation on the side. On our show, I'm enjoying this. It's nice fun for me to watch. I'm enjoying this.
Oh, I'm happy you are. But it's sad. The amount of strikeouts that you're never going to change it back is ridiculous.
You're never going to change it back. That's the way the MLB is going to go because the home runs drive your contract. It doesn't matter if you hit 210. If you hit 35 home runs and you drive in 97 RBIs and you hit 210, you're getting paid like you hit 300.
But what's important is let's just use 1,500 as the base number. 1,500 divided by 162 is about 9.25. So that means you're getting a little bit
third of the outs.
Right. I was gonna say a little bit under 10, but a third of the outs.
Players don't care. Managers don't care anymore.
Per game are now strikeouts. That's a problem.
They do not care anymore. Like managers, players, teams, they don't care anymore. Like as long as you're hitting home runs, you're driving in runs. It doesn't matter if you strike out 3 times in a game. If you hit a 3-run home run and you go 1 for 5 with 3 Ks, You ground into a double play for the other one. They don't care. You hit that 3-run home run. That's good enough.
To
That's
answer
the
this
way it
question,
works
by the way, I don't mean to get off topic. We're probably hoping. I would say we're going to do that. What? Maybe a month from now? 3-4 weeks?
Yeah.
Well,
that'll be
we
an
got to figure it out.
off the air discussion.
No, of course, but just a rough estimate for anybody actually, currently watching that's interested. I would say
end of August.
End of August. I don't know, 3-4 weeks from now. I give or take. That's without even looking at the actual calendar. I would say somewhere around there. It'll come up soon. We'll keep you guys updated because we're definitely going to do that. I mean, we're happy to win again.
I'm just curious what kind of steaks Matt likes. I had never asked what kind of steaks Matt likes. What kind of steaks do you like, Matt? Well done, right? The right way, the only way?
That's disgusting. John,
so
for that comment, John, you're out of order.
So who do you think's getting moved by the trade deadline? Biggest name?
I'm going to go and say Max Scherzer.
Okay.
Medium. Well, of course you're a medium.
That's wrong.
You're a Capitals fan. You're a Ravens fan. Of course you're medium. Well, I should have guessed.
I'm also going to guess and say Scherzer goes. I'm trying to figure out where I want to.
Oh wow! Red Sox, Yankees, or Dodgers? Who would have guessed?
No,
sorry,
he's not going to the Yankees.
It just popped in my head. Those 3 teams potentially getting him.
Another guy I don't want.
He doesn't want to go to the East Coast. He's made that clear. He wants to go to West Coast. So I'm
just
going
to
go.
The way MLB goes, it's always those 3 teams in the mix.
I would say,
of course, buddy.
Dodgers are easily in the mix. I might go Dodgers as much as I hate to. Also, John, that is the right answer. Good man. Good man. Good answer.
That's the right John.
That's yes.
For now on, he'll be known as the right John.
The correct John.
I'm the left John. Left-handed.
John, who do you think is the biggest?
Just left-handed.
Who do you think the biggest name is going to be that moves? I'm sticking with Scherzer. I think there's a solid chance he moves.
I don't know. I think Aaron Judge.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, you think the Yankees are sellers, not buyers?
Yep, sellers. I think Aaron Judge gets moved surprisingly.
I don't know about that. Based on what I'm hearing, I don't think they're sellers. Just
the Yankees are buyers.
Based on what I've heard.
Facebook user, whoever you are, I'm not sure who you are, medium rare.
No other option.
The Facebook user that's the perfect. Listen,
putting you in the game. You're getting a game misconduct for that. 5 minutes game misconduct. You've been ejected.
But yeah, I'm
going to go to the hockey locker room.
I'm going to go with the Scherzer as the biggest name. And the Yankees are buyers.
All right. You're sticking with what I'm saying. So who do you think he's going to, though?
I don't know.
I know it's hard. I know
Dodgers because they don't have Trevor because Trevor Bauer's going to be gone.
I don't know.
See, that would make sense.
That's a great question. I see the Mets trying their hardest to get him, but I don't think he wants to stay East.
I don't think he wants to go to the East Coast. That's his
Steve Cohen's going to do what it takes to get the Mets to win. The Mets are going to be like the old Yankees.
Lefties are the best. Lefties always right. Stop giving players the Yankees. Matt is right again. Matt's been brought out from game misconduct. First time in hockey history, brought from great game misconduct back onto the ice.
Jake, this is going to be like politics for us. You know how politics right now is very strange?
Yes.
New York baseball is about to become that type of strange because now the Mets are going to do what the Yankees used to. Yes. No, it's not even about better. They're going to be doing what the Yankees used to do. They're going to spend all this money.
Yeah, you're right.
Now the question is, will they be good doing it? Because Steve Cohen has the money. Right now they built up their farm system the way they were doing it before, but now they have the money on top of that to spend.
And they also have a smart owner. They just have a smarter owner.
So we'll see if they can. We'll see if they can do what they have to do. Anything else in baseball?
I don't think so. But there's something important we have to talk about. And JB, I know you don't want to talk about it, but we have to say, you know where this is going. I don't even have to say it. JB, who won the NBA Finals? Can you remind me? I can't remember. I'm blanking right now.
Was it the Sun? Did the Sun?
I think the Suns won, right? They won in 6.
Yeah, Chris Paul finally got his first championship.
And I know I predicted the Suns, so I must be right. Oh, wait, no, it wasn't. It was.
The Sun will be out tomorrow.
JB, who won?
You know what?
Could you remind me real quick?
I need a 50-piece. I need a 50-piece nugget
you would have
from
watched the
Chick-fil-A.
NBA carousel yesterday, you would have known.
I need a 50-piece, not 49, not 51.
There it is.
Piece.
That's right, JB.
Right.
Your
That's
favorite team in the league, the Milwaukee Yucks, or as they're properly known as, the Milwaukee Bucks. Now, look, I admit, I said that they would lose. I'm not changing what I said. I said the Suns would win.
What did John say all series long?
But
Bucks in 6.
I've got to say, Giannis has, I think, cemented his legacy as one of the great basketball players of this generation, like one of the greats, like of our current generation. I was going to say, I
heard the dumbest thing on the radio is that people were saying, "Oh, he's a top 20 player all time." I'm like, get out of here.
And I'm not going to say. I think you could say he may go down as one of the Bucks greats as well.
You could say that, but you can't say he is if he retired today.
No, I'm saying. I think he could go down as a great, one of the Bucks greats as well. He'll never be the best. I mean, that's
the guy
never going to change. I don't think.
Outside. How could you be one of the best players ever?
He won.
He can't shoot. No.
That's not his game. Shaq can't shoot from outside. And he's one of the best players ever.
Shaq's a setter.
Doesn't matter. You just said how can you be one of the best players if you can't shoot from outside? Shaq can't do it.
He's got a point. Shaq's
a setter. Shaq is a setter. I don't want my setters outside.
I was trying to move my mouse. So I'd mute myself, and I was actually scrolling on my phone. So, as wrong mouse. That was my phone, not the mouse. Right next to each other. It's been a long night.
Listen, Giannis is a great player. I don't know about an all-time great yet.
Not yet. No.
Maybe he'll work in the offseason.
But he's going to go down as...
He could be good. Obviously, go down as one of the best of all time. He could, but
he's going to go down as one of the greats of our generation. I think that is fair to say. But I also have to say this, JB. He just doesn't take 3-point shots. Like that's
not his game.
That's right. That's not his game.
But he does.
Wade didn't shoot 3-point shots. That wasn't his game.
But he doesn't. No, he really doesn't.
That was never Wade's game.
If you want to look at his stats in the playoffs, like let's go down. Let's go through the Sun series and some of the games from the Hawks. He didn't take a lot of 3-pointers. On last Tuesday, he was 1 for 3. The 17th, 0 for 1. 0 for 2 on the 14th. 0 for 2 on the 11th. July 8th, 1 for 5. July 6th, 1 for 2.
And a lot of
times July 3rd against the Hawks, he didn't play. July 1st, he didn't play.
When he shoots those threes, it's not contested. It's he's open because they don't think he can actually make it.
June 29th and June 27th, he went 0 for 1 and 1 for 2. The point is, he doesn't shoot a lot of threes. That's not his game, and that's okay.
He can't shoot from the outside pretty much anywhere, though. Unless
it doesn't matter, but he scored. He dropped 50, and he won a championship.
One-dimensional. He can't be great if you're one-dimensional.
Shaq was one-dimensional.
The way I see it, he dropped 50 to win a championship.
There's that mic that just dropped.
Pretty good. He dropped 50 to win a championship.
Shaq was a defensive.
He was one-dimensional.
And he killed in the paint. He wasn't a one-dimensional.
JB, 42 minutes played.
Giannis was a defensive player of the year.
42 minutes played, 50 points, and he only made 1 3-pointer. I don't care how one-dimensional. He did pretty darn good for making 1 3-pointer.
So I think I'm gonna have to buy Jake a ticket to go to Wisconsin.
No, thank you.
Because you are no longer allowed a jersey.
I've been
banned from my state.
That's all right. It's not a great state anyway, so it's not a big deal.
It's
probably bottom 5 in states.
Oh, this is getting harsh.
It's probably bottom 5.
All right.
It's not an all-time great state.
I don't know.
I'm not arguing that it's a great state, but we have redeeming qualities.
Bottom 5. Sorry.
That's
hang on.
It's armpit of America.
Give me your bottom 5 because I'm gonna have to dispute this.
Alaska. It's got to be in there.
Alaska's
New Jersey's got
beautiful.
Yeah, but there's nothing to it.
It's pretty.
There's nothing
keep
to
going.
it.
I'm going to let you give me your whole list. We got Alaska, New Jersey, or 3 more.
Alaska, New Jersey. See, now I'm coming up with this off the top of my head. North Dakota, Montana. Those are states you could just do away with. Nobody cares about them. And then I'm trying to think of another useless state. Probably could go with, I don't know the 5th state. I'm not sure. Maybe New Mexico?
The fact that he can't even come up with 5.
New Mexico. Give me New Mexico because that's a useless state nobody cares about.
New Jersey may not be one of the best states, but it's got redeeming qualities. We do have a beach.
A bad beach? Beaches
are
disappointing.
That's all right. Hold on. Now,
New
John,
Jersey has
disappointed with those beaches.
Have some of the nicest beaches. So
no, you haven't been to good beaches.
All right, John, what beaches are you going to? Tell me, because I know the beaches here, and I can tell you're probably going to the wrong ones.
I don't like your beaches.
Are you going like Seaside? Because if you're going to Seaside,
I just don't like your beaches in general. How about that? I'm not a big fan. I've been to some of your beaches. I'm not a big fan.
You're obviously going to the wrong beaches.
I don't know the names because I've been in New Jersey a bunch of times, and I didn't really enjoy it. I just kind of went in, got out. It was like
I agree.
Well, John Mozik's from New Jersey, so that's why.
Look, I'm the first to admit that this is not the best state, but I'm also not going to sit here and say that we have
not
nothing.
the bottom 5. Not the bottom 5.
That's Rehoboth Beach in Delaware.
I'm not counting Rehoboth Beach. I'm counting places like Long Beach Island, which is in New Jersey. I'm counting places like Asbury Park. All that.
I haven't been to all your beaches, of course.
Oh, Matt,
Wildwood. The ones I've been to, I don't like.
Hold on. Matt is providing me a perfect segue. I will tell you how great Wildwood is. Coming this Saturday, I will be going there on a vacation for a week. Don't worry, I'll still be on the show from Wildwood, and I will make a point of trying to get some
on a roller coaster or something. You better be on.
No, I'm going to be sitting on the deck outside probably.
Enjoying
the beautiful weather.
Wildwood to chase
you could drink too. You're 21.
I sure can.
Yes.
I sure can. But the point is, I will try to find take pictures along my few days that I'm there before the show to show you that the beach, it's not that bad.
So Matt's going to take your spot at the beach while you stay on the show.
Oh, heck no.
From what I take it on Matt's comment.
No. I'm not missing the show. Just because I'm on vacation does not mean I will not be doing the show. I will be there.
Look, Matt has PTO on Sideline Sports to use. He's taken your spot on the vacation. No. Matt has PTO. I'm going to approve it in advance. Matt, you're approved to go on Jake's vacation, and then Jake will stay on the show. So we'll just finagle that, and that's fine.
Absolutely not.
All right, moving along. We're going to get out of vacation mode for a second. Let's talk about the vacation in Japan for USA Basketball.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Oh, jeez.
This is pathetic.
Man, we were just talking about vacations and beaches, and now you got to go to
I think what this proves to me more than anything, there are 2 things that you can create with any sports team: a team of all-stars or an all-star team. I'm sure you guys have heard this phrase. All-star team it can be any group of players. The New York Islanders are one of my favorite examples in sports right now. That is what I would call an all-star team, but not a team of all-stars. Their team is not the most popular guys, but they're a fantastic team, and they work very well together. They make up an all-star team, a team that is awesome in their own right. Or you have a team of all-stars, which is just a bunch of all-star players put together, and it doesn't always work.
What I see is this team is the Toon Squad in the first Space Jam before they became good. So Toon Squad at the beginning of the game.
Speaking of Toon Squad, did either of you watch the new Space Jam?
No, I heard it was awful.
I'm going to say this.
Terrible.
I'm going to give an honest, quick review. I watched it. The movie and the content itself was hot garbage. I do not advise you watch it if you're looking for a good story or a build off of the original Space Jam. But if you're looking for nostalgia and cool references, that's what it does well. And that's the only thing I think it does well. There's some cool references to other Warner Bros. Stuff that they have and other TV shows and movies. I know a big fan of Rick and Morty personally. It's one of my
I love
favorites.
Rick and Morty.
They appear in the movie for 5 seconds. And it's a small little cameo, but it was cool. I appreciated it. But the movie itself is terrible. It was awful. LeBron can't act. Now, I know Michael Jordan couldn't act either, and I'm not trying to argue that he could, but at least the movie, when it came out, it was good for what it was. But
it was good for its time period.
It was one of those movies. It's a one-show pony. It comes out, we're done. Never again. Just leave it. Don't touch it.
I could go back and watch the Space Jam, the original, and be happy.
I have a Toon Squad jersey downstairs right now in my room.
If you went back and watched the original, do you think it would still be good, like in your mind, or do you think it would? Yeah. It doesn't kind of.
No, it's a good movie.
Do you think it wouldn't age well?
Hang on, breaking news. Breaking Olympic news. Katie Ledecky failed to medal in the 200 meters.
Oh, that's disappointing.
Really?
She's having a bad Olympics. That's her second disappointment.
She was amazing the other day when I was watching her in the 400 meters. She was really good. She dominated everybody by over a second. But that was a heat. That wasn't like an actual.
She came in second, I think, in the gold medal. She got caught by the Australian, and then
that's disappointing. I feel like that's our guaranteed gold medal.
She is like this generation's Michael Phelps, like the newer generation that we're in. That of Michael Phelps. She's supposed to be amazing, and right now she's underperforming. But it feels like all of USA is underperforming right now. But anyway, back to your question, John. If I rewatch the original Space Jam now, would I still think it's good? That was what you were asking.
You think it would
basically?
age well? Yeah.
But I don't think. Did you ever think it was good?
Hold on. Are you asking? Are you asking if it came out now? Would it still be good, or if I just rewatched it now?
Rewatching it now, do you think it would be like anywhere close to what you watched when you were a kid? Does that make sense?
I still love it. I still love it. I've watched that movie.
Because some movies or shows you go back and rewatch, and then you're like, wow.
No, I have watched that movie more than once as I've gotten older, and I still love it. It's one of those movies that, like, for me, I think part of it is it associates memory. Like I have memories affiliated with it, but it's a great movie. It's like it is one of my favorite sports movies of all time. As stupid as it is, it's great. Like
it's not a great movie.
For me,
it's great for its time.
For me, it's up there with the movies like Remember the Titans in terms of my favorite sports movies. It's not as good as a movie like Remember the Titans,
content wise, but
I love the movie. It's awesome.
It's good for what it is, yeah.
Absolutely. Like I said, I have a Space Jam jersey. I have a Bugs Bunny Space Jam jersey. Why? Because I love the movie. It's awesome.
Next
was really
week we
cool.
should. I don't think we ever talked about our favorite football movies. Did we? Did we ever talk about our favorite football movies?
No, next week.
Talk about that next week.
We're gonna have a lot to talk about next week, football-wise.
Well, these guys will have to tune in and give some of their takes on their favorite football. I have one that you guys aren't gonna guess as my favorite football movie. You won't guess what it is. Sure, you won't.
I have a couple guesses.
I have a different one. I have a different one than the prototypical.
Before we got to the whole Space Jam thing, though, I was talking about basketball and the Olympics and how horrible the USA is, because the article I gave you guys today about the officiating and how the stars of the USA just are looking for calls. Now, it was a great article about how the officiating of the NBA is horrible. What do you guys think? We all can agree on that. I think it's a pretty non-surprising fact.
I don't think it's so much at the officiating. I mean, I think it's horrible for the fact that these players get all the calls that they want and they whine so much, but that's the way the NBA goes. It's money driven. It's a star driven league, so you want to see LeBron James score 40 points. And the way to see him score 40 points is when he gets hacked, instead of them letting him play on, LeBron James gets to go to the line. He scores more points. It looks better. That's the way the NBA works.
I'll say this. One of my least favorite things, and I know this is the way that officiating goes now, but like this will always irk me and just bother me when I watch basketball. Players get away with like 5 or 6 steps. What happened to just 2 steps and you have to shoot or make a pass or do something? Like,
don't watch James Harden.
It's so sad.
Don't watch James Harden.
It's so pathetic that you can easily get. I've seen LeBron get at least 4 steps. Yeah. Why? Because he's LeBron James. But I hate it. And like that, I know there's bad calls too. And that's fine.
John Muzik, have you not watched Remember the
that's
Titans
offensive.
yet?
You're gonna lose the right John comment now. John, as soon as we're done, you got to go watch the movie.
If you haven't seen it as a sports fan or a football fan, you need to go see it right now, immediately. Otherwise, you'll be banned.
We've all seen that movie, so I want to ask this quickly: do we all have a favorite scene from that movie? Because I know I do.
Oh gosh,
I'm just curious.
So many.
My favorite scene, so much. No question. Period. End of story. Couldn't argue it. I couldn't possibly change it. Is when Coach Yost pulls the defense out in, I think it was the conference championship game before they go. I know it's before they go to their finals. I think it's their conference when the coach is cheating, and they're like, and he gives a speech where he's like, "You make sure they remember the night they played the Titans." I love that. I watch it. I get chills every time I see it. Best scene in the movie, hands down. That movie is phenomenal. And
it's amazing.
Anybody that hasn't seen it, I ask you, please go watch it after this. Because
John, have you seen it? I need to know if John has seen it or not. What does that comment mean? Does he mean he needs to rewatch it, or he needs to watch it for the first time?
I take that comment as I need to watch it.
I've never watched it. That's what I think.
I don't think you can admit that to anybody ever if you're a football fan. That's something you bury deep down inside of you, hold inside. Never tell anybody that.
I agree. But
all right.
Anyway, back to what we were saying. I hate the fact that they get away with this garbage, and then they expect calls. The game has gotten so far away from what it's supposed to be.
So when I was on the Sports Arena last night, I believe Megan, who does a great job with NBA Carousel, mentioned last night on the show that apparently Bam Adebayo and Kevin Durant got into it the other day. Okay, so John Muzik has not seen it. Go see it. There's a million streaming places. Apparently Megan mentioned to us last night that Kevin Durant and Bam Adebayo got into it because I guess during practice or a shoot-around, Kevin Durant shot a shot. The ball rolled to Bam. Bam did not pass it back to Kevin Durant, and Kevin Durant threw a fit. So they got into it because he did not follow etiquette by passing him the ball, which is basketball etiquette. So they got into it, which I think is the dumbest thing. You're an Olympian, and you're losing games. You lost 3 out of 4, 2 exhibition games, and now your actual opening game. And you're squabbling. You're Kevin Durant, the leader of the team, one of the best players in the entire world. You're squabbling because one of your own teammates does not hand you the ball the right way.
I'm also going to say this.
What?
That doesn't shock you. It's KD.
Basketball
complains about everything.
That's
basketball
your mindset. That's your
etiquette
focus.
Dictates that if you make a shot, you get the ball back.
But
I understand that's not worth arguing over. No, I'm just saying it's not worth arguing over. But I'm just saying that's the etiquette. The etiquette is you miss it, you don't get it back. You make it.
Had a burner Twitter.
But this is
account.
But that's like high school stuff.
Why would it shock anybody?
It doesn't.
You're at the Olympics. You're an Olympic athlete.
But
your focus should not be, basketball etiquette. It should be on
I agree.
Your team getting better to try and win medals for the USA.
Killing me. It's KD. So don't even bother. All right, last question I have for tonight, then I'm done. Simone Biles. What do we think about what happened this morning?
I back her all the way.
Yeah,
I back her all the way.
I'm with that. I mean, look, does it suck that she wasn't able to participate? Of course. But I think it's something we've all discussed enough.
Yep.
Mental health is the most important thing that isn't talked about. I think. Like in sports, in life, it is one of those things I feel like gets swept under the rug so often, but it's so important. And so would I have liked to watch her compete? Of course, because she's a freak of nature. She's incredible. I mean, she's one of the best athletes, in my opinion, in her respective sport on the face of the earth at this moment. But she did what she needed to do, and I respect it completely. I mean, take care of yourself.
Everybody gets burnt out eventually. I mean, it happens.
It was a bad time, I understand.
I just wish she would have made this decision, a week ago, so somebody else would have got the chance. But listen, she's got to do what's best for her. She's competed her whole life.
Maybe she was trying to fight through it for, I think what I heard, she was trying to fight through it for her team. and then she just couldn't do it anymore. And
or maybe it just came to a
she
head
had
where
to bow out. Yeah,
it was bothering her, but it wasn't enough that she felt she needed to stop. And it finally came to the point where, like, I cannot handle this anymore, whatever it was.
Yeah.
I really need to step away from my own personal.
I respect it. I respect it.
I do too.
Anybody bashing her, you don't know what she's going through. You don't know what she's been through. You know, firstly, you have the thing with the doctor, with the abuse, with the women's gymnastics that she's been through. You know, leave the woman alone.
How many Olympic athletes would have the courage to step up in the middle of the Olympics and say, I can't do this because of my mental health? Because you know what the backlash is going to be. And the courage it took for her to step up and say, I know you guys chose me. I know you're relying on me and counting on me, but I just can't do it. That takes a lot of courage.
Oh, absolutely. I think it's really hard to do that. That's why I respect it so much.
Especially when you're the best in the world and everybody's looking at you. It's not like she's like number 17 in the world and like, oh, who cares if she doesn't compete. It's a good point. She is, you know, the gymnast everyone's watching, you know.
She is Michael Phelps of her sport.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like, and I hate to keep using him as the example, but like,
no, he's
he is the Olympian. Like,
right. So,
he is this generation's like the guy that is the Olympian. You know, many years ago it was Bruce Jenner. He was the guy. Like, and that's just what he was. That was that generation's guy. Michael Phelps is ours. This newest generation, it's Simone Biles. She is the person. Her and like Katie Ledecky are the people everybody want to watch, no matter what.
Yeah, and I like Jake said and John said, I have nothing but respect for her. Anybody that's bashing her, you don't know what she's gone through, what she's going through. So you know, for her to do that at this point, imagine how bad it must have been, because athletes don't ever want to sit out. You know, we've all played sports. Do you ever want to take yourself out of a game? And now she's in the biggest competition. Do you think she sat there and said, gee, I don't want to do this anymore? No. Think of how bad it must have been for her to do that.
Oh, absolutely.
That's all I got.
I agree. I respect it. I'm sad to not see her compete, but at the same time, I'm happy she's doing what she needs to do for herself.
100%.
Simple as that.
I back her 100%.
I wish her the best. I mean, I do see she's debating if she's going to do the all-arounds on Thursday. I hope she's able to compete.
But if she's not, she's not.
Yeah, I think she should. Team that she couldn't compete for the team competition, but you know, I just wish her.
I wish her well.
I hope she's happy whatever decision she makes. Yeah, I just hope that she does it for herself and nothing and nobody else, but she does it for her own mind, and she's comfortable and happy with whatever she decides. That's what I hope.
I agree. All right. Anything else?
I got nothing.
All right. Well, let's go around the horn. We'll start with JB. Where can they find you?
JB Ellis, JB_ the program on Twitter. The NBA Carousel Draft Edition coming up on Monday. The program should be out first week in August. We got a couple.
I look forward to that.
Can't wait.
The NFL Carousel coming back during the NFL season. Repping the Chargers here, there, and everywhere.
John?
Sports Arena, Monday night, Wednesday night, 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Sideline Sports is the most important place with the most important face.
John, that will never be true. I'm sorry.
Tuesday nights, Cardiac Kane, Blue Hawks 13 on Twitter, NFL Carousel Thursday nights. Coming up, starting week 2, I believe, is when we're going to start. That's what the train, that's what we're projected for week 2 to start the NFL season.
Awesome.
NBA Carousel every once in a while, every once in a while on there.
Oh, yes.
So, yes. So that's all the places you can find me. All them great places you can check me out. And there's going to be more places that you can find the most important place, the most important face, Jon Shearer. More places, but that news is coming soon.
Okay, John.
We'll get there.
All right. You guys can find me.
You can find me at the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
Next week?
Next week. The whole entire week. I'll be there.
Love it. Well, you guys, what do you got, JB?
Sorry to interrupt you guys. I forgot about John Isaac and myself will be discussing the NFC East middle of August. That'll be coming out.
Great.
Excited for that opportunity.
Good.
Talk to John a little bit.
Love it.
Talk our Giants, Jake. But we're sending you to the Packers world. You're out.
Absolutely not.
You can hang out with the Yucks.
I'm buying
No,
you a Devontae
no.
Adams shirt.
Absolutely not. Please don't. You guys can find me on Twitter at Jake_Malik. You can find me on Facebook, Instagram, all the social media. More importantly, though, you can find me here on Sideline Sports, and you can find Sideline Sports on Instagram and Twitter at Sideline Sport 1. And even more importantly, YouTube and Facebook at Sideline Sports. And even more importantly, if you don't want to watch us for whatever reason, that's on you, and that's fine. I won't judge you. No judgment. You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, basically anywhere you can think that there's a podcast. Just look us up. I guarantee you we will be there. And most importantly, the show, you can find it here every week, Tuesday nights at 8:30 p.m. Eastern time. Because, John, you're not the most important face in the most important place.
This is the most important place in the entire world, Sideline Sports. Most important place in the entire world, Sideline Sports.
You guys can argue over that all you want.
This is better than Disneyland, better than ESPN, better than everything. Sideline Sports.
That's it for us. Anything else before we go? I don't think so, right? We're good?
I think we should hit the road, Jack.
I agree. All right, then we will see everybody next week. Everybody have a good week.
Enjoy your well-done steaks.
You're just so wrong.